You turn my morning into dancing. Your love changes everything. There's something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes every. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. You turn my morning into dancing. 'Cause your love changes everything. Your love changes everything. Oh, there's something about your love, something about your love changes everything in my body. Oh, something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. It changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything, changes everything. Something about your love, something about your love changes everything. You turn my morning into dancing. 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 Something about your love, something about your love changes everything.
Yo, happy Tuesday. I almost said Friday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. Good morning. It is a great morning. I am at the crib with the babies running around. Um, as you can hear. Let's say hi to some folk. Vivian Davis is on. Pamela, Hillary, Chuck, Dave, Bert, Colleen. Good morning, everybody. Um, yeah, we are going to be in Luke. And there's probably people in Rumble. I don't have Rumble pulled up. But hey to y'all out there as well. Um, yeah, so we are going to be in Luke 17, 11. Let me see if I can share this. There we go. Let me check this. Hey guys, let's go play upstairs real quick. That is live. All right. Here we go. Hopefully you can see that. All right, so now on his way to Jerusalem, Jesus traveled along the border between Samaria and Galilee. As he was going into a village, 10 men who had leprosy met him, and they stood at a distance and called out in a loud voice, "Jesus, Master, have pity on us." When he saw them, he said, "Go yourselves to the priests." And as they went, they were cleansed. One of them, when he saw he was healed, came back, praised God in a loud voice. He threw himself at Jesus' feet and thanked him. And he was a Samaritan. Jesus asked, were not all 10 cleansed? Where are the other 9? Has no one returned to give praise to God except for this foreigner? Then he said to him, rise and go. Your faith has made you well." And man, so good, so good. This passage is well, like we've all seen this passage before. I want to move this so I can see it. Anyways, we've all seen this passage before, but and heard it talked about a lot. But I just want to talk about like kind of what popped out to me and what when I read it this morning, kind of the things that popped up for me. So, well, first off, Jesus is the first guy coming on the scene healing lepers, right? Like they're, this is the first person, the only person in the New Testament healed of leprosy that we see. There's only like 2 other people that I can recall being healed of leprosy, and they're all in the Old Testament, and I don't think they weren't Jewish. So this is like new for the people, right? Like they go to the priest and they're probably like shocked with that. But really the main thing that popped out to me was this is kind of like all of our lives, right? Like a lot of us, hey, Pastor Tom's on. Hey, we're going to be praying for you. We're going to be praying for you that everything, that last week's appointment would be like, it would just keep decreasing, right? Like the first one was the worst. Last week was a little better. And we're praying that this week it would just be a little bit better, that the symptoms would, or the side effects of the treatment would just continue to just get lesser and lesser as you go through. And so know you're in our prayers this morning. But yeah, so the other thing that popped out to me was just like, man, that this is all of our lives. All of us at some point in our life had our own leprosy, right? Like we had this thing that we were ensnared to, that we were in bondage to. If it was alcohol addiction, if it was pornography, if it was whatever, any form of lust or covetousness or um, yeah, gluttony, anything, right? Like there was this thing that held us and it bound us. And then the Lord set us free from it, right? Like when we gave our lives to Christ, and He doesn't always set us free from everything, right? Like I sometimes you say that and it's like, well, man, I'm still struggling, with some of this stuff, and I believe that is by design, right? I don't think that you give your life to Christ and then everything falls off. And I think it's designed like that because what we get for free, we tend to take for granted. So many amenities that we have here in the States that, a good third of the world, uh, don't have. We just take for granted, right? Like we take for granted that we have clean water. We take for granted a lot of these things because they're given to. We were born with them, but if you didn't have them, you see the value. You see that you are rich. And so just like that, I feel like the Lord sometimes, He just lets things fall off, right? Like for me, I was a college alcoholic, drinking every day. And just like that, like the desire to drink, the desire for those things just went away. Like I had no desire for alcohol, but I still struggled with lust and I swore like a sailor. And I've told many of you the story, like first time ever being asked to pray in a church in front of people. I like drop an F-bomb, yeah. So like everything, some things I had to fight and work and resist. And I think it's such a beautiful thing, right? Like we get to resist sin as a form of worship to God. And this side of heaven is the only place we get to do that. But like getting back to this story, like we have these things, that God saves us from and delivers us from when we get saved. And so often we don't go back or we came back originally and but now we kind of take it for granted. Now we kind of oh yeah, what, I'm good now, right? But we should just be reminded, like, man, like life is at His feet. Life, like everything draws, like we draw from Him. We draw life from Him. We draw love from Him. We are nothing absent of Him, right? Like anything good in me, anything good in you comes from the Father. And so we should live our lives in gratitude. We should live our lives at His feet and in this constant just place of like, God, you're amazing. You're good. And yeah, it's so often we get in this place like man, I can do it on my own. I did this, I did that, and we get puffed up, we get arrogant. And the reality is, like, man, nothing good can come out of me, but anything good that has come out of me is all through Him. And I recognize that, and I'm just blessed, right, that He has chosen to use me in so many situations, and let's count it all joy. But let's be that 10th leper. Let's be like that person to return to the Lord, and that's like a daily thing. I think. Let us return to the Lord and give praise for the beautiful day that He gave us, right? Because it's His breath in our lungs, right? It's Him who got us out of bed this morning. He's the reason that we're breathing. He's the reason that we're here, and so let's go back to Him daily in this, just state of gratitude, thanking Him for another breath, thanking Him that we even have the breath to say thank you, and so, this my exhortation for today is just let's be grateful in what has been given, and what the Lord has done in our lives and through our lives and what he continues to do. He's so faithful. Even when we're unfaithful, he's faithful. And let that question not be asked of us. Where are we? Because we're going to be the ones at his feet. All right. So I hope this was a blessing to you. We'll be right back here with my pops at 9 for some prayer. So love you guys. See you later. Peace.